use Hyros?
We do. Hyros is kind of our single source of attribution truth of just like, hey, if someone bought or someone opted in, where did they come from? We determine that in Hyros.
Okay.
So there's that's actually something I wanted to show you guys. I made a ton of really big progress using Claude and Hyros in the last week. Um, Hyros finally allows for journey.
Yes, this is the source. You mentioned this on Facebook. I was curious on this. Yeah.
I'll show you. It was crazy, dude. You're gonna love this. Um, Claude is calling temporary maintenance. Okay. So Hyros is an attribution tool, and if I log in, um, I know Black Swan, you guys aren't using it, but there is it exists just kind of like how any other analytics would at the base of it. Tracking pixel goes on the site and you use tracking links for everything that you do, and then it basically allows for you to do a bunch of things for attribution, but lead journeys report in particular never had the ability to export until this last week. And the actual like view you would look through on their journeys on their native, what's up, just wasn't very robust. So we'll let this load here for a second. And you guys can see this is like the default view, just it's not very telling. It's like cool. It's bucketing in the last week all this revenue, and saying that first click was Facebook ad, second click was a Facebook ad, then they purchased, and that led to like $12,000 in revenue. So these are just all the individual journeys, but I can't really see the forest through the trees or whatever that expression is here. I'm just
Yeah.
like, this is all interesting, but I have to drill down in all of this and just look at, okay, this was a lead magnet, okay, and then I end up basically anyone who looks at this report ends up just being super confused. So the export feature, in addition to just like exporting a CSV and then bringing it over to Claude, allowed me to ask it questions on journeys for like the last year. So I started up here asking them to say, show me the full funnel journey from subscriber to lead to MQL to SQL to customer and how much time they spent in each stage on average, because that's really hard for us to get to. What they ended up telling me after a little bit here is what they analyzed: 246 customer journeys worth almost $1 million in revenue. Then they recommended an attribution model that Hyros doesn't allow for, which is saying you guys should weight 40% on the first touch, 20% kind of on that mid touch, 40% on the last, with channel specific recommendations. But going into all this is like pretty nerdy, but then they built it into this nice report. And let's see if this one was it. Yeah, this was crazy. So you guys see this report?
Yeah.
Cool. They came up with these are people from our other offers. This was like our Gator offer, but they came from our sub 2 list, so they were warm. 1 to 2 touch points generated 5x more revenue than all the other ones. So basically saying our customers would buy from us again. That wasn't something that really was insightful, but they didn't know this, so they were just like, wow, these people that convert really quickly, you should just get more of those. Google dominates high value touches, email excels at closing. So they gave me like these nice little just insightful things about our funnel that people always had hunches about, but no one really knew. This in particular, I really loved seeing. So like they were saying they bucketed into 3 people, like people that convert quickly, standard converters, and long converters, the number of touch points on average that those people need before they buy, how many customers that led to, and then the timeline. So for these people that were already students, all it took was 1 to 2 touch points on average and 1 to 3 days before they would buy this offer from us, since they'd already bought. Standard converters, people who were not in that bucket, only needed about 3 to 10 touch points to buy, and the average timeline was 7 to 21 days. And then we have this long converter bucket where the timeline was 30 plus days, 10 plus touch points, but the revenue in that bucket's not as strong. So what they did, and then they mapped out the funnel flow for each of this. So they're like, cool. The ideal path for all these people looks like this, which we had no idea. We were trying to find, the goal of this exercise was to find a better funnel flow that we hadn't thought of to convert these people. So like the content to sale express, we had no idea about like this funnel. It wasn't really a funnel in our heads. We knew that we were running a webinar. We knew that we were like bringing people straight to a demo, same day demo. But we had no idea that there was this 2 to 7 day path that people could come in through that involved them coming from a YouTube podcast, then hitting a landing page, then a 3 email sequence with a flash sale page at the end. We're like, oh, shoot, we were doing that, but we didn't know that that was the journey that led to the revenue. So all this was super interesting too, as far as Google, Meta, email, YouTube. I don't know what DEC is or DESC, but they analyzed again all this sort of data for us, and then gave me some quick wins in order to kind of implement. And eventually, at the very end, we continued to ask it questions, and it recommended a better Jared, a better attribution model for us. We're like, what's better, first or last touch? It's basically said neither. It said first touch was about 25% accurate for us. That we would screw it up. They said last touch is slightly better, 30%, which is what our default is internally right now. Wow. It usually is for most businesses like ours. Linear, like our linear fractional, ended up being like the one Hyros option that we could use that maybe is the most accurate. And then this one doesn't exist, which is hybrid or revenue weighted, basically saying meta is, a meta touch means more than a touch on YouTube, and email means less than a touch on Reddit. So all of them have their own weights, which we can't do that. And that is a more complex setup. It would lead to more accuracy, though, in knowing what channel is met the most. So like Black Swan, especially like if you guys add TikTok to the mix, you're going to have these journeys that are going to look like, oh, they found us on TikTok and then they saw Chris on LinkedIn and then they bought. And then you're going to be asking yourself, okay, which channel gets credit for that sale? And the answer is usually some sort of like this one seems to be the easiest one to implement, where you just give all channels the same amount of credit, and anyone who has that touch beforehand gets credit for the sale. However, if internally your media buyers or like your social team knows this, then they just start sending posts to people in the CRM just to touch them right before they purchase, knowing that they'll get some partial credit for that. So it leads to people trying to game the system so they can get more credit, even if they're going to buy anyway. So yeah, this I just thought was super interesting. And Jared, yeah, if there's ever any question that you have about just like any part of your funnel or journey and the average length that it went, I can send you this whole chat log too, but it was just really, really nice to be able to ask questions to Claude and have it get answers for me.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I saw, because I mean, I've been looking at that lead journey thing, but like you said, this takes it to a whole nother level in terms of giving actual like actionable steps.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And this was super cool. Like I've been asked to put reports like this together before, just like what is the typical journey for a long converter, and no one has any idea. You just pull up like a example and then that's it. So having it roll up all the journeys together into these buckets, super, super nice.
Yeah, that's huge. If you wouldn't mind sharing the questions you asked, that would be great.
Yep.
If not, that's cool too. But yeah, that's you crushed it with that one. I am still chatting with that other guy about setting up kind of like a custom in integration with the Hyros API, where you would literally be able to kind of have a chatbot that you can chat to your data, so you don't have to do the exports. It's linked to the API directly.
That was great.
Yeah, I can send you his details if you just want to hop on a call with him and just chat with him and stuff. He's like an ex-senior developer from Hyros, but he has an agency that's a verified partner with them. So he's helped us with all sorts of stuff in the past. And yeah, I'll shoot you his contact info in the looms that he showed me, but super sick. Setup, depending on how complex you want to get, can obviously take a bit of time. But yeah, just having an interface to talk to your data like that, huge.
It's so nice. They're like one of the things that you see me asking there too. I just wanted to know like what touch points or what URLs show up time and time again in people's journey, whether it's the first or the last. Like what important conversion pages do we have that we're sending people that are part of their journeys?
Yeah,
What
that's huge. Every time we start traffic again, we start seeing other sales in other departments. Like somebody would be in a certain flow for a book or a journal or something, then they'll see a training for a webinar, then next thing there's a journal sale because it re-triggers and then they go back down that path. So
yeah.
very interesting to see how that affects the journey.
Yep. Yep. And the default like answer that I just hate internally up until this point is we can't pull that because the customer journey is multifaceted and very complicated these days. And I go, yeah, I know. I was like, that's why it's even more of a reason to get to the bottom of this. Yep. So it is crazy. So it confirmed a lot of suspicions that we had, but then also kind of also gave evidence against the fact that you need a super long nurture in order to get people over the line these days. I'm like, no, there
How else are you using the analytics suite for creative? Because we've had the analytics suite for a while, but honestly, I haven't really used it much.
they just redid the creative report about a month ago, and that one is really valuable for me now too.
I've seen that a little bit. I think we chatted about the time of sale on there. That metric's huge.
Yeah, time of sale, and then they added one that's particularly useful, not just time to call and time of sale, but there is a new metric called, let's see if we can find it. Save as a widget. I thought I did.
While you're looking, did anyone give Prince a shout out for just casually hanging out with Central C?
We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Yeah, did you just see him on a moped?
No, he that was just a random video because he didn't let me
Oh,
take a
okay.
picture with him or video or anything, but he was at my gym. He came in, and then when I went back to work out, he was working out there. I was like right next to him working out for like an hour. So
Sick.
that was cool.
Cool.
You ask if you
Was
could
it?
spot him.
Like, Central C is a big rapper from the UK.
Mm.
Nice.
This is interesting too. You can get like 30, 60, 90 LTV if you want to see just per ad how much money it recovers. But for me, yeah, 30-day is usually enough. Then you can compare creatives in a vacuum in a big time horizon, like 6 months, regardless of when they were initiated. Um, the one that though maybe I have it in here. No. Time to acquire a new customer. This one actually gives you, Jared, what we were looking for is like all of these, they get messed up because of like if they do a journal and then they do a mid ticket or whatnot and the averages get all screwed up. So time to acquire a new customer is just simply from the time that they came into the Hyros ecosystem and were a lead, how long did it take to get to the first sale?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one that matters to me now the most. So of course it's not.
What up? What up? All right, welcome back.
I think it did that for me too. I don't know if I had too big of a date range or something, but I don't think it populated for me one time.
Well, maybe I don't have a big enough date range, is my thought here. Let's do last 3 months because this one did populate for me. And maybe none of these creatives brought in a new sale in that time period. Yeah, there we go. So this is really telling though when you're thinking about just this ad and what did it do, because all the other ones, if they just aided in the touch after the fact and they bought something else, that really doesn't matter to me. I want to know like what are my quickest converting assets. Like that's pretty good, 46 days, 112, and this is for sub 2 mid ticket, but none of this made me excited when I looked at it and I was like, dang, okay.
Yeah, and honestly, over time, it does start getting a little skewed, especially for us. Like if we're doing events annually that are bringing in 800,000 to 1 million, our sample size of people that are new to our ecosystem, even if they've just opted in once for a free event, now they're in, you know? So
Yeah.
it messes with it a little.
Yeah, that's
Yep. So yeah, that Nate, I don't know if you guys need, like I said, we can look next week, see if HubSpot Analytics is enough for you guys, but especially if you add paid ads to the mix and you want to track the revenue from the phones, that's generally when you would want to get Hyros involved. For straight to cart, you